What celebrations did the people of Tantal, or the ancient Atlanteans, have? In my dream regressions, each of the 12 universities had 1 month where they celebrated their achievements. At the end of that month, a delegation would be sent to Tantal with gifts for the people of Tantal. So essentially, each university had its own holidays at a different time to the other universities. Even the universities that were actually located within Tantal, and there were 3 of those, also had separate holidays. I don't know if the separation into 12 periods has anything at all to do with our 12 months of the year, but it does seem to me like it's quite a coincidence. But I'll just leave it at coincidence. So back to the universities each month giving gifts to the people of Tantal. So that meant that once every month, the people would get some kind of surprise, something different. One year, Tehoot University provided the equivalent of a fireworks show. The University of Neath produced a new type of fruit, and everyone received one. There was new technology, new gadgets, new fashions, songs, foods, even footwear, all kinds of things, as a result of what the university was working on at the time. So 12 universities meant 12 sets of gifts. So a little bit like having 12 Christmases, but it was the same gift for everybody. And so each of the universities took turns at doing this. And if something was really loved or enjoyed by the people in this festival, it actually became a part of the tradition each year for that university. So there were plenty of exciting things happening each month in terms of what the universities were doing. There were plenty of other wonderful celebrations as well, which I should really talk about, like the bull jumping events, the sports events, games, the Festival of the Old Village, the Festival of Memories, the centennial celebration of the founding of Tantal. That's a good one. And of course, each family in Tantal would have their own centennial celebration as well, at a different time to the Tantal celebration. And that was so that the original members of that family could catch up with all their offspring. And you can imagine, after thousands of years, that'd be quite a big celebration. And wouldn't it be amazing to, once every 100 years, go to a really amazing party and meet your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmother and grandfather. And it was wonderful, and everybody really enjoyed that particular celebration. Then there were the regular ones, like the birthday of Uran, which later became the birthday of Bela. And of course, in the last era of Tantal, it was the birthday of Japay. So basically, the leader's birthday. And that just happened to be whatever it was that the leader wanted to celebrate, however they wanted to celebrate. So you can imagine that there was quite a lot of celebrating in Tantal. But going to celebrations was optional. You weren't forced to go. Celebrations often involved singing, dancing, specific foods. I can't think of any celebration that functioned like Christmas, though, where people gave each other gifts. There wasn't anything like that. But the monthly gifts from the universities was always loved because it tended to be a real surprise. I think that all changed at some point during the reign of Bela, and it was certainly never done during the reign of Japay. Anyway, festivals tended to involve food. So nothing new there. Festivals today also tend to involve food. But the University of Primitive Studies would always put on a feast that copied one of the primitive peoples. Each year it was a different one of these primitive peoples. And they would create the same meals that these people would eat, including a form of artificial meat, which was cooked in the same manner, roasted maybe on a spit or whatever. And the people were invited to dress up as these primitive types and just enjoy it as if they were one of the primitives. It was actually quite a lot of fun, although today this would be considered very non-PC. I can't imagine it ever being done in today's world. The University of Chem once did a festival of lights, and that became a permanent part of their annual festival. But there are so many examples that I could give you. There's just too many for me to mention. I guess one that stands out for me, though, I remember one where there were these niches carved into the side of a cliff at about waist height, and a path that was in front of each of these. It was along the side of a beach. So there was the beach, and then there was this pathway, and right next to the pathway was kind of a sloping cliff face, and into the cliff face was dug these niches. And within the niches, there were people inside. They were quite big niches. There were people inside cooking. Anyway, the fun was to walk past each niche and sniff out what was cooking inside, because each one was cooking something very specific. And if you could guess from the smells, then you'd be given a small plate of the food. And most people would then go sit on the beach and eat it. So you could go from one niche to the next, sniffing out things that you liked. If you liked it, then you could make a guess and you'd receive some. It was a strange game because you were allowed to guess as many times as you wanted until you got it right, and then you'd get your plate of food. I remember it was a very colourful event. Each of the niches had all these sorts of colourful flags or colourful bits of fabric waving around at the entranceway to their niche. But in general, food was a really big part of the celebrations, because food at home on a regular day was kind of a bit boring. It was mainly just good nutrition. It wasn't very exciting. So the festivals created a real pleasure in the food of the festival.